How are you doing? It's Monday morning, June 22, and I have decided to make another post. And today I want to just talk a little bit about history. No, it's not boring. That's who we are. And but you notice my hair? I have not been to the hairdressers for maybe over 4 months because of COVID-19. So from the latter parts of February, I've not been. So I've decided to just comb it out. I usually use a bandeau over it. But by the way, I should remind you, I'm doing this outside, and you're going to hear engines passing by, like that motorcycle. All right. So here I am, thinking, what should I share with you today? And this morning when I woke up, I thought I should tell you the importance of history. So whether you are a young Jamaican living in Jamaica or the Caribbean, or you're a young Jamaican living in North America or in the UK or Europe, or Caribbean people living, you need to know your history, because if you don't know your history, you're going to stay uninformed and you won't understand what is happening about you. You know, when Black Lives Matter kick off again after George Floyd's death, it kind of moved into another arena. And I want to talk very quickly about the statues that have been brought down in England, and some have been damaged elsewhere and brought down. I don't want to bring down those statues. I don't want anybody to bring them down. They need to be preserved, but in a museum, or different plaques written up for them so people understand really who those persons were. Talking about people like slave owners and slave traders and imperialists, and coming right down to colonizers, people who think them own another country. Like Columbus, with his audacity and temerity, arrive here, come talk about him discover Jamaica. From me in high school, me I say, but this can't write. So you have to start thinking about the words you use, because words have power and meaning. And so I'm asking you to think about your history, learn your history, become informed. And it's not just teenagers and younger people. Some of us in my age group, and I'm 67 and older, still don't understand our history, or we are so brainwashed we don't want to even understand it the way it affected us. When you look at some history books, history is written from the perspective of the person who write it. So we have to read the things that we have written ourselves about what our circumstances have been and how we have managed. Can you imagine referring to the Africans brought to the Americas, Caribbean and Jamaica, part of that, as they came to, slaves were brought here. Slaves were not brought. People were enslaved. Some of these people were people with high learning and great craftsmanship and artisans. They were brought here as people and enslaved. Every time I pass a cane cultivation, I said to myself, can you imagine out there in the hot sun, either plant cane or reap cane or somebody have a whipping on your back? Or you try to stand up for your right and slave master cut off some part of your body? Or, oh man, it is just awful. So I'm begging you, please connect with your history. And if you connect with your history, you're going to connect with your identity. Who are we really? The names we have, for the most part, are names that we inherited or were given to us by the slave owners. So our great people who were enslaved get the name of who owned the estate, and that was hand down. Or you just accept it. I'm not suggesting that we should just go about and change our name. Some people have, and use creative means as well to do that. But I'm just suggesting that we need to know who we are and prepare for that. Some of us never embrace the business of reparation. I remember the first time I saw a book about reparation. It was a booklet written by the late attorney at law, Dudley Thompson. I don't know what I have done with that little booklet, but it was invaluable. But there are others keeping the fight going. So be informed. What is reparation? How will it affect you? Yeah, we have to think about that, because reparation means that the artifact, in how many museums in Britain, for example, and other parts of Europe, have our artifacts that are of value. They take them away, valuable things, and gone there. We need to get them back. And when slavery was abolished, them pay the slave owners money. Because the slave owners are going to lose so much now that they don't have the slaves working for them. And what did we get? That is why reparation is important, So you keep those statues either in a museum or properly labeled so people know what people went through. And some people just pass things, them seeing but they're not looking. You need to look, you need to read what is written on those statues, and then you need to understand your history to see if what was written there was properly represented, or you want that to continue to represent you. There's so much more I could talk about this history and identity. It's like clothing. We still can't understand why men in the tropics are wearing suits that are lined, jackets that are lined, sometimes with waistcoat and jacket and tie. Well, them tell me long time that me radical. It's not that, but just common sense. Them are going to catch heat, and as global warming and climate change takes effect, the heat is going to just make some of them drop down from sunstroke. You know what I mean? Let's start thinking. And this is the last thing I want to leave you with this morning. About 2 or so years ago, there was a big event that I was asked to be the master of ceremonies of right here in Kingston. It was not a Kingston event. It had some Caribbean importance to it. And the women arrived in their finery, their sequins and shimmering fabric and so on. Nothing wrong with that. But I arrived in a beautiful bit of fabric I had got from some friend, brought it back from Africa for me. I can't remember what country. And by the way, remember, Africa is a continent with 54 countries, another era people make, And I remember the look on the woman's face when I walked into the ballroom. It was like, what's that you are wearing? Yes, I'm wearing. Yeah. Because we are so brainwashed that certain things are just the proper things. And if we are not dressed that way, I looked elegant, but I wasn't wearing sequins and shimmerings for an evening event. Listen up, think, read, be informed, listen to what is happening around you, open up your mind, and be able to have opinions and make contributions from a position of being informed. If you don't know where you're coming from, you won't know where you are now or where you intend to be. Faye Ellington, leaving some thoughts for you to consider during this week.